Hello, people. Welcome to another episode of Ball of Passion. I'm your man George V_C. I'm here with Lauren. Man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It would have been nice if Burnley took something and they played well, but you got to do it yourself. We got to do it
Mm,
ourselves, and you can't focus on other people. So just let's go and do this, man.
what's that old adage? Focus on your lawn and
Yeah.
consistency of outcome against the top six, guys. I've been preaching it since God knows what January was it. We keep reminding people on the timeline, but listen, would it have been nice? Would circumstance would have been nice to have gone in a little bit easier? Sure, but ultimately at the end of the day, you have to focus on your lawn. It's in your hands. We got to do the business on our own, and I'm okay with that. I'll be honest with you because as we get into this Newcastle preview, mate, no matter what's happening, I don't look at other teams. I focus on ourselves. And mate, they've got some serious injuries in the middle of the park. I mean, I think people just washed over the fact that Man City beat them 5-0 in their last game, and that was because they had the exact same midfield issues that we're going to see here. And people just assumed, oh, it's City. No, there's some serious issues with Newcastle's team right now in terms of their injuries. And um, we'll see who is able to kind of get back. I think Kieran Trippier was able to make an appearance along with Callum Wilson as a substitute. But I don't see them fit enough to start the game. And in addition, they've also got Joe Willock out. We know Joe very well. And they've also got John Joe Shelby out. And for me, those are their two starting midfielders. I mean, right now, they don't normally play Longstaff and Bruno Guimaraes starting. Those two would have started in this game. And, those two actually would have given us a lot more trouble in the middle of the park because
Mm.
they carry a lot more transition threat, right? So when you are looking at it, especially in how they play in a 4-3-3, what you really need is runners in those interiors, right? They kind of use Joelinton as that physical presence to kind of knock down, and they hopefully use it to free Alan St. Maximin. And on the other side, they use Joe to kind of get up and down the middle of the park, and they have John Joe Shelby in the back trying to really spray passes from that six position and control things for them. But I don't think they're quite going to get that. Ultimately, they're going to play Bruno Guimaraes and Longstaff out of position. I think Longstaff's going to be in the lone six position. They're going to try to push Bruno a little bit higher up the pitch. And yeah, mate, like it was. I'm looking at this team, and I'm not too sure where the worry is really. I mean, you've got Dubravka's probably going to be in goal. You got Matt Target out at left back, Dan Burn and Lascelles in the middle of the park. Not a convincing partnership that really screams defensive solidity. I think Dan Burn does a really good job aerially. You're not going to get anything off him, but Jamal Lascelles, there is space to get in behind. And of course, Kraft, I'm not sure is the greatest. And then we talked about that middle three, and up top you've got basically Alan St. Maximin, Chris Wood, and I don't know if Miguel Almiron will start, but I mean they don't really have very many options at that point. So
No.
how are you feeling for this game, given their injuries? So you're probably looking at Callum Wilson and Kieran Trippier back in the squad, but I don't think that they start. And then you're looking at Joe Willock being out and John Joe Shelby. So how are you making for their kind of injuries?
I mean, their injuries are look at this point in time. Anything can happen in 90 minutes, and this is a major thing. But tactically, in terms of the players they have available, the tactics they employ, and the way we set up, there's not a massive amount of threat. I don't think there's a huge transition threat. Um, I think there's one major threat, and that's Alan St. Maximan, just one on one, being able to dribble, and it will depend on who um, who sets up at right back for us. I mean, we're going to have a discussion on that at some point because there's going to be multiple discussions about our injuries itself. But in terms of what they offer a decent running midfield. I mean, I don't think it's elite, but I think Joe Linton is, Swole Linton now. He's got this whole thing over there. He's now at 8. He's able to do that box to box work, and he's got that stamina and he's got that ability to run for 90 minutes. I don't think technically he's got anything to shout about, but let's see how he performs. Bruno Guimaraes, I think, you know, he offers a lot going forward, but I don't think there's a thing. If you get past him, if you beat him one-on-one at any point, he doesn't track back. It's one of
He's
these similar
aggressive,
things.
right? Like, I mean,
He's
one of the
very
biggest
aggressive.
look, I had a lot of debates on Twitter about Bruno Guimaraes, and I don't think people had really watched him as much as they,
No,
perceived to watch
pretend
him.
to.
And so, yeah,
No, no,
and
pretend to.
the biggest thing with Bruno Guimaraes is his ability on the ball is very good. His ability to control the tempo of a game is super. But what he does do is he presses really aggressively from the front. He doesn't win his press very often than not, and when he's running back to goal, he's very poor in transition, and so he gets dribbled past far too often because a lot of times he's far too aggressive in his 1v1 press. He doesn't press with the team and he gets himself out of position a little bit. And so for me, when you have that combined with a John Joe Shelby or a Ryan Willick to kind of help you, um, you kind of see it and it gets exposed against more technical and more powerful midfields. And this isn't really a surprise. I mean, it's not a knock on the player; it's just one of his limitations. And when you're going into this game, essentially, what you really are looking for is to isolate that Chris Wood knockdown and the Bruno ball off to Saint Maximin. Like that is what they're going to be doing, right? Again, I call this the Benfica mid block, where they have Darwin Nunez, and you basically have one player come deep, a very physical, tall striker, Chris Wood, have a knockdown, and someone in your midfield plays a smart ball out wide that hopefully one of their outlets, which is really just Alan St. Maximin, can make the most of. But yeah, mate, I think as we go into it, we'll probably bring in the tactical board here. Um, and I think the biggest debate, mate, is really who plays at right back for us. Because look, we you probably got Alan St. Maximin at the 9 here position for everybody that's watching for us here. And he's going to be their major outlet, right? And whoever is in that key position, that's what's going to win us the game because the three in midfield that you're going to see here, they don't offer much in terms of passing ranges beyond Bruno Guimaraes. And Bruno Guimaraes is going to be really the onus is going to be on him because they actually don't have anybody in the back as well to kind of play any kind of balls. So Dan Byrne won't do much. Jamal Lascelles won't do much. Chris Wood will try to drop in and create that diamond, very classic 4-3-3 that we think with Lacazette. But he isn't also one that can get at the end of crosses on the box. So they really rely on this diamond to really get Alan St. Maximin out on space on that left hand side, and then they wait. So they give the ball to Alan St. Maximin, and he basically draws two or three man in kind of a qualitative superiority down that side. He tries to bring runners to him and wait while his entire team steps up the pitch. And if you can cut that area of play, then I think you're really, really fruitful. And really, the biggest area of concern, I think, from a Newcastle perspective, is going to be down their right hand side or our left. And this is once again why we're going to kind of talk about who should be playing right back, who should be playing left back. And for me, Jamal Lascelles is really poor catching runners off his blind side. He's really poor at it. Kraft doesn't track his runners. And so that inside channel between the 5 and the 2 that you're seeing up here, that's going to be our area of attack. I think Dan Byrne actually does a really good job of kind of controlling that side. I don't think he's the greatest defender, but he does control that zone really quite well, and he showed it for Brighton as well. So I think between the two sides, while I really do fancy kind of Saka and our wingers getting 1v1 against their center backs, I think Matt Target is a better defensive fullback than Kraft. And so in terms of which side of the pitch that we want to attack, and if you're a coach, which side of the pitch are we going to really go for? For me, without Joe Willock as well in the middle of the park, who does his defensive duty, it's that right hand side current, mate. And so for
Yeah.
me, it becomes a debate. Who do we put left? Who do we put right? You guys all know what I'm going to say. Nuno has to play. Nuno has to play. We saw it towards the end of the Spurs game. He had a great chance for Odegaard on the cutback. We talked about it in the review. He is poor defensively. We know this. But if you get him high up the pitch, okay, and we put our best 1v1 defender against their best 1v1 outlet in Alan St. Maximin, Tommy has to play right back, okay? Even in the case for me of a Gabriel injury, which, by the way, I don't think that's done. We'll definitely talk about that really soon.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think
Mikel's
that
comments were
story.
quite unclear about it.
Yeah, I mean, late fitness test, but I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
that story is quite done. But let's say they are, and I think that with a Rob Holding, kind of suspension, what you'd have to do is you'd have to put Tommy kind of back in the middle of center defense if those things do happen. You kind of have to and play a Cedric and Tavares fullback pairing. I don't really think that you have another option beyond that. But I think with Gabrielle likely to be back, because again, on the preview, I didn't see him pull up or anything like that. So medically, it's going to be a day-to-day assessment. Sorry, guys, I can't really do much more prediction. I'm not sure about you, Curran, but like unless we
No,
physically assess them,
you
they're a
exactly.
day-to-day.
It's muscle. This is the issue with muscular injuries throughout this entire season. It's very hard to judge. I think with Tomiyasu, we kept saying he should be back, should be back. But unless you're physically examining them and seeing what their situation is and their range of motion, the amount of weight they're about to put on it, it's very much a case where look, unless you're in the room, unless you're physically with the person, you can't really tell. It's and you know what for me I have to Nuno, Gabriel, White, and Tomiyasu has to be it for me. And if it is not Gabriel, honestly, I would do. And I need Tomiyasu right back. I would even put I don't know El Neni or centre back at some point. I would just do anything that wouldn't
Well,
mean Tomiyasu isn't on to Saint Maximin. That's the main jewel.
Well, I had this kind of debate in group chats, and what I actually wanted to see, and people are going to say, "Oh my gosh, he's going crazy," is I wanted Granite back there at left center back, and I was going to
That
put
could
Lukanga
work.
in the middle of the park,
Yeah, that
and
could work as well.
because you have to think when you play with Nuno Tavares, that left center back, he steps into midfield in possession. He isn't just a left center back, right? So like when we play that 3-2-5, exactly this. Like if Gabrielle is not fit, and you're asking what would you do in that case, I think you have to keep Tommy on Alan St. Maximin. There's no other way. That is one matchup I'm not willing to concede on, and I'm willing to take Granite out of the middle of the park because Newcastle have just a very physical midfield and they don't really progress through the center. They just use Alan St. Maximin out wide. So taking away Granite from the middle, by the way, isn't as much as what people think it may be seen because in possession, Granite's going to step into midfield. We're going to have Nuno Tavares high. So when you have basically a left back that's inverted, Granite is important in that middle of the park because they're a little bit high. So for me, yeah, I would have Granite at left center back. I would have White starting. And then I would have Tommy at right back if Gabrielle wasn't fit. But if everybody's fit, it becomes a much easier question. And I think when you're looking at something like a 4-3-3 like this, it all really depends on what we have going in the middle of the park. So I guess what I mean by that is if you've got Nuno out wide, there's only one option that you got to do. It's Emil Smith Rowe. And so when you're kind of asking about what should be the pairings, if you do a Nuno Tavares type of left back, ESR has to play because down that side, they don't have together enough technical security to really control that. So if you were to play Martinelli, you'd have to play an inverted left back like a Tommy that is able to really control the ball. Ultimately, otherwise, we're going to get really the same situations that we've been getting. So for me, I don't think taking out Tommy to put him left back to fit in a Martinelli is really worth any kind of trouble. And so when you are looking at kind of how we end up playing in the middle of the park, it's something like this, right? We've got our 2-3-5. I put Nuno high up against number two, like wide, like where you would get him out of the way, out up there. And that's kind of what you're looking at in terms of these matchups right now. And so Alan St. Maximin is going to be the major danger man. And number four for us is going to be Tommy. And that is the transition control. And ironically, that's
I'll make it
also the
easier.
same side.
I'll make it easier. There you go.
Yeah, and ironically, that is also the same side. So number two at this point, where Joe Lenton loves to play in the middle of the park, right? Joe Lenton is kind of a person that's going to sit in that left space. They look down. So for me, what's really, really important, again, is Mo is going to have to do a job on Chris Wood very similarly. And then after that, mate, I think you have Emil Smith Rowe to take advantage of Jamal Lascelles. We need somebody. It's not the out to in run that I need. What I need is somebody able to get their foot on the ball and spin Lascelles. I need somebody in the middle of the park that is able to receive at tight spaces. Okay, because there's not going to be much room. When you face a middle three, we talked about this with Brighton. You need people that are comfortable moving. Okay, so Eddie Nketiah is going to burst into that space beyond. So if you could drag kind of number 11 Kern just to kind of look at the striker, he makes a bending run in behind the fifth spot that we see there, which is Jamal Lascelles. And that should open up the space for Emil Smith Rowe to really attack in the center of the pitch. That's
Mm.
the space that we're really looking for. And so we're looking to feed Emil in that space. We're looking for runners to be able to receive on the half turn And so that's why he's so important. And alternatively, I think he's going to be super important running back the other direction because if we're really going to step up and really impose ourselves to push them back, you basically want people that can receive under pressure. So it's going to be a really nice tight block. And of course, when you need a goal, you got to put one of your top goal scorers in the team, right? So for me, we need goals. We need goals now. Let's add goals. What do you
Yeah,
make of
I
it,
mean,
Nate?
for me, look. I feel like the main thing for me is if you play Nuno, you play Isar. If you play Cedric Tommy, you play Martinelli. It's that simple. And if it would depend on what he goes, I hope he's not stubborn. I know he has this tendency to unless things are forced his hand, he doesn't like changing things. But the thing is, for me, this is too crucial a game to just rely on not putting out your second top scorer with your top scorer on the same pitch. You need Erdegaard, you need Martinelli, not Martinelli, you need Emil, you need Saka, and you need Nketiah for tomorrow. And it just has to be, that's it. It has to be the people that you trust on that pitch. And at this moment in time, Eddie is the one you can trust. Um, you can trust Emil throughout this season, and Saka's been Saka. So I just feel like if there's one set of players that you need to put on the pitch, it's Emil and Bukayo. You do that, and we take the technical level in that front line up a notch. I love Martinelli, but I don't think he's got what it needs for this particular game. I think if he was playing on the right, it would be a different issue because that out to in run, that link up with Tomiyasu, it's a different issue. But we have Bukayo there. So for me, I think just keep with what we have right now. Emil, the back for me, it's obviously the back line with Tavares, Gabriel, White, and Tomiyasu. If no Gabriel, the thing is, we can all say Xhaka left centre back, but we know it's going to be Tommy left centre back and what do you call it, Cedric right back. But it, this is what concerns me, because if he does go that way, we're going to be leaving a Cedric out on an island with Alan, and
Look,
White's going to have
for
to
me,
be
for me,
very
the
good.
the biggest mistake that we've made against Spurs, and the biggest mistake that people are making, is that people are worried about scoring goals, and
Hmm,
ultimately, in order to control a game, you need to stop the transitions. Okay, you cannot give St. James Park an opportunity in away days. You can't give the away crowd a chance to cheer. And the one chance that they always have to cheer is Alan St. Maximin. It's a very simple threat. Okay. Well, not simple. He's a very good player. He's very capable in and out. Okay. He's capable both sides. But in terms of that threat, you stop it, they don't really have an opportunity to attack down the right. So we know our best bet is to attack down the left. We know that, whether you want Martinelli, ESR, we've kind of given the reasons why I think ESR suits this game far more and also suits us in the moment,
hmm,
especially on away days, by the way. I make this point in away days, we need to improve our technical security. We know that Odegaard doesn't do the best in away days. We know that our technical
agreed.
security isn't the best in away days. So get the person that is one of your best technicians in tight spaces on the pitch. But beyond that, I think you cannot move Tomiyasu from right back against Alan St. Maximin. Now, if you wanted me to guess about what Mikel will do, I actually think he will. I think he will have learned because a big thing was, that Cedric holding pathway. We talked about it in the review about how it didn't work, but
We matched up the thing is, what we didn't say was we matched up their strong side to our weak side perfectly. Like
yeah,
perfectly. Like we literally gave them the channel. And I just think that it's if he doesn't start Nuno, then it is what it is, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it afterwards. But the thing is, for me, is if you're going to have that one strong side be the left side, which it is for them in this game. I mean, Bruno will be on the left, Alan Saint Maximin will be on the left, and uh, will Trippier play left back or right back? He'll play left back, won't he? So
Trippier.
so yeah, or would he play
No,
right
I
back?
think I think I think he'll go right back if he is
Would
back.
he go right back?
Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing. If you have that Trippier cross ball to Alan all game, that's if I'm Eddie Howe and I see Cedric and on that right hand side, I'm just telling Kieran Trippier just hit it, a cross ball, cross to the opposite side for Alan Maximin to try and go one on one with Cedric, and that would be my out ball. So I hope that he's learnt his lessons. I hope that he has, because I really feel it will be Burn and Lascelles, Lucas. Yeah, um, it will be Burn and Lascelles. In terms of what we think Arteta will do, I personally think he's learned his lesson. I don't know if it's true or it's just dreaming about it, but for me, if you see what he's done in terms of adjusting in the really crunch times, the Chelseas, he's been able to step up, and I just feel like the way he looked after that Spurs game, he knows what's on the line. He knows that he's got to do this for the club and to really secure our position in this top four race.
Look, mate, I think these are the big debates. I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I'm not going to chastise, but I will say I believe that Nuno Tavares, we've seen functionality over individuals win, and it's what's lost us games in the past. And I think it's less about what people's fears about Nuno defensively, but it's about you asking the simple question, where are the threats? How do you mitigate them? And how do you allow us to explore our threats? And so for me, whatever we do is going to be deficient. Okay. So if you put Cedric at right back, it's deficient. Even if you put Tommy left back. Do you know what I mean? If you put Tommy right back and you put Nuno, it's deficient. But it's a case of which is more deficient and where is Newcastle likely to score? That is the key question for me. And for me, my bets are all on Alan St. Maximin. And so at no cost, when you kind of weigh the pros and cons, when you're with an injured team, you want to mitigate their risk first and foremost. And if you can kill their biggest outlet, it kills the confidence in the rest of the team, right? And that for me is the biggest thing. So I think that's the play, mate. Like you have to
Yeah,
have Tommy at right back, got to play Nuno, and we got to play Emil Smith Rowe. That is one of the biggest things that we have to do, especially against Jamal Lascelles. We talked about it. That right hand side is where we're going to score goals. If we're looking at it, mate, I think quick switches out to Nuno, driving in behind, and a cutback is really what we're going to be looking at here. Kind of that late chance in the Spurs game with Odegaard. That pattern of play, I would bank on a couple goals from that happening. And if it's not Nuno and if it's Martinelli and people are twitching in with like the specific names, I don't really care. But that kind of out to in run from the right, in behind Lascelles and a cutback, that absolutely is it. But mate, what are you going for? We talked a lot about the tactics. I think everybody understands the assignment. Okay. I think this was never a case of looking at Spurs. I get that the nerves are on with fans, but look, guys,
yeah.
even in the case of a draw, we needed to win both games. Like you had to have the unlikely opportunity of Burnley doing the double over Spurs, which I don't think they've done in almost 3 or 4 years. So it was a very unlikely scenario, but we know what we have to do. What are you going for in the game? Predictions.
I'm going for 2-1. I think we do win. I do think there's a goal in it for them. My initial thought was 2-0, the same we had as away, but I do think there's a goal with them because of we don't know how fit our defense is. But I think this is perfect. This is just needs to be get your best finishers on the pitch, get your best people that have performed this season and make them work, make them tick. Get the people that you know who can win you games on the ball and just win this game. I go for Emil and Saka 2, and then 1 from Chris Wood or something like this.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Look, I very much think that it's going to be easier than a lot of people think, and it's not because of anything special that we do, but more so with Newcastle's injuries. I think this is a very different game if we face a Newcastle full strength. And yeah, mate, I'm with you on the Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, but I'm going 2-0. I don't think that they score. I think that we do well to shut out the game, and I think that we cut off Alan St. Maximin. I do think it's going to be quite simple like that. I don't think it's going to be a huge drubbing. The only reason I don't go for a little bit more is because I don't know if we end up doing all the configurations that I want. I feel like if I could guarantee a Nuno left back, Emil on the left there, and Tommy right back, I feel like I could have a lot more confidence and a little bit of a higher score.
If I knew that was what he was going to go with, 3-0 with chest easily.
Yeah. I
But
would be
like
very, very confident.
I'm just curious. I'm cautious of this Tommy left centre back, Cedric right back
Yeah.
issue. So, um, I do think Bukayo will play tomorrow. I don't
Yeah,
see
absolutely,
there's.
mate. I mean, look, at the end of the season, people are worried that they're carrying injuries, but look, guys, this is normal. Business end of the season, ton of these players are carrying injuries. Do I think Bukayo's 100%? No. But even Bukayo 50% is our best player, especially without Thomas Partey. And so we need him to be somebody that's
Oh,
just
Jared Bowen.
controlling. Um,
Oh,
and also, you know what's really
sorry.
interesting is that Martin Odegaard is going to have a big game. That switch from
Yeah.
right to left, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at him feeding in the left winger coming in off Lascelles. That is the pattern of play that we really, really got to do.
Hey, 100%.
But yeah, guys, you let us know in the comments what you think the score is going to be, how you think the game is going to go. I would be very confident. Ultimately, look, mentality is what
Yeah,
we
I
have
saw.
to do.
I saw.
We got to focus on our own lawn, and guys, we just got to do the work. Okay, I'm kind of ultimately you can kind of hope, we can wish, we can predict about things, positive or
Mm,
negative, but ultimately the buck is stops with us. It's in our hands. We got to sit there and claim our prize. Otherwise, we're just not worth it. And I'm tired of people having to have this little. I don't want to go through another rant because we did the whole spiel,
yeah.
yesterday. But
I felt a
ultimately,
lot better after that as well. We've got a lot
yeah,
of. You breathe after that.
you
Like,
did. You
it's.
get a little stuff off your chest. You feel a little bit more airy. I hope we did the same for people in the comments. But look, ultimately, guys, we got to go to St. James Park. We got to do the business. Focus on that game. Focus on 90 minutes. Don't worry about anything else. Zone in as fans. We got to zone in on the job at hand. And I think we do it, mate. I think we do it. I think those are the tactics. But any last minute thoughts from yourself?
Um, Look, just have to win. This is not the time for big tactical observations of how the team is doing and how. This is just get the win. 90 minutes. I remember someone saying earlier. I think it was Has saying earlier was people don't remember how you win finals. They just remember that you win them. And this is
Mhm.
what it is at the moment. You just have to win your games. I don't care if it's a scrappy one. I don't care if we play two Leicester aways. I don't give a shit. Just win at all costs. Exactly. You have to beat. You have to. You can't beat. You have to beat the teams outside the top six. As Georgia said, I've said. I think a lot of people have said. If top four is secured outside the top six, and we have two outside the top six sides, where we have to go there. We're 2 points behind with a game in hand. We have to go there, do our business, and be done with it. And that's it.
Absolutely. You get that Nike comment, just do it. And
Yep.
like we've been saying kind of throughout the end of the season, I think this is just a beautiful way to kind of end it is guys, focus on your lawn. That counts for the players as well. Don't let external anxieties in. Focus on your own stuff about what you got to do. Make sure you maximize the consistency of outcome against teams outside the top 6. Everton and Newcastle fall into that category, guys. You do that. Top 4 is yours. We've been saying it since January. We know the assignment. It is. Now it's time to go out there and claim it. That's basically it. And so, yeah, I don't understand the negativity, but ultimately, a lot of people didn't understand why we were so positive from the start. So big chest, guys, let's show our pride. We go out there to win tomorrow. That's the only outcome. We don't envision another outcome. We go out there to win. Period. End of story. So I think that's it, mate. And you know what? I think we're going to catch everybody on the review. Hopefully, look out for that probably Tuesday. Big Monday night football match. So I hope everybody's excited.
Enjoy it. Enjoy that game.
Enjoy
I know.
it.
I know. Everyone's gonna go. Is gonna be nervous. I'm gonna be nervous. But you know what? That's what makes you alive. You feel alive in those moments. You feel like you're with the team. That's what. Those are the moments you live for. When you talk about 20 years later, you go, "We won top four in the last two games." These are the moments you live for as a football fan. So just relax, breathe, and embrace these moments. We've earned this as a team. We've earned to be in this position. So just enjoy it. There's no need to be, oh, in, out, whatever. Forget it. Just enjoy the moment, enjoy this team, and be with them. That's it. That's all you need to do.
Absolutely. Let's go out there. And I think this is beautiful from Ahmed. Let's
Get the
just go
win.
out there
Yeah.
and let's get the win, boys. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You hit that bell for notifications to know when we do, in fact, upload. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking us out. And of course, if you like the content, you can leave in a little bit of extra support by clicking that join button for a membership. You can find the socials on all the boys on the video at GeorgeV_AFC. And then, of course, current mate, you can find you where?
At Current BOP, they can find all the other guys below CK Football, the One Willow, and the Twitter at BOP Footy as well. So thanks for all the support. We're going to be with you soon, and let's just go and get this win, boys.
Let's get it, boys. Keep your heads up and let's go. Come on, you Gunners. All right, we're gonna
Come on,
sign
you
off.
Gunners.
See you out, guys.
See you later.